Let's try that again. Hello and welcome to episode number 14, take two of the All Sports Podcast. My name is Zach Bischoff, and I'm here with.
Danny Shanholzer.
All right. Now, today, it's going to be a college football oriented show. I will be moderating this debate, as I always thought I was having a nosebleed there. Anyway, we will start with our college football before I inevitably have a nosebleed. All right, so I will be moderating today's debate between myself and the lovely Danny Shanholzer, who is over to your right. Um, anyway, we have three questions today regarding the super conference that college football will inevitably become. So our first question of today is, Danny, your thoughts on the current state of college football, please.
Yes, sir, ZB. And obviously, if for those of you that tuned into, I believe we tried to do a similar show on Tuesday that did
Yes,
not
that
pan
that
as
that
much.
is that has been removed, I believe. I have taken
Oh,
it off of YouTube.
okay. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Great to be with Zach here, and ready to dive into some college football for sure.
With
And Jack,
power now. He has power.
I do have power now. We're feeling good. We're feeling good. No, but I mean, and Zach, like, there's so much to dissect here, man, because college football has almost, I don't want to say changed overnight because I feel like we knew that, like, obviously Texas and Oklahoma were joining the SEC in a number of seasons here. But I mean, the fact that so many teams are now moving conferences, and we're seeing, like, just recently, like, UCLA and USC are not part of the Big Ten. I mean, it this has kind of went from 0 to 60 pretty fast because there's no longer, regional um, pools of teams like there were in college football. I mean, there's so much on the that's like being like, it's so top heavy, so to speak, the conferences, because I mean, it's just you have all the really solid teams just kind of in the two conferences, and I think that's only going to amplify here in the next coming seasons with other people, with other teams joining, because I think they're going to realize they have to join. So I'm really curious to see kind of where this goes. But as far as my thoughts on the current state of college football, I mean, I don't know what to think. Like, I really don't know what to think, because on the one hand, I'm happy that I think it'll be really cool, and it'll be an adjustment, especially for the USC and UCLA players, um, and not just in football, but in everything. With them going to the Big Ten, I mean, that is going to be a travel adjustment, and I think we can't skip over that, because you know California is a long way from places like Michigan. Like, that's a long way, and I feel like that it's becoming more like pro football in that regard, because you're flying all over the country playing games, and you gotta really try to manage like try to manage variables like the time change and things like that. So um, I don't know really why I went to the time change there, but I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, and I am just curious to hear everybody's thoughts, and I really think we're in for it's definitely going to be interesting here in the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the phone lines are open at 412-223-7078, so you can please give us a call. Let's see, we have any incoming calls? No, we don't. Yes, please call us. I didn't make this phone line for nothing. Um, yeah, so yeah, it'll be interesting. Like you could just see, like, teams. Like, and your point about time change was valid. There was going to be a ton of jet lag coming,
Hmm.
from California over to the west,
Hmm.
to the east where we currently are.
Yeah, and another thing too, and we might want to get into this later on, but I'm sure we will, but just the college football playoff. I mean, that's gonna like I feel like it's got to expand. With
Hmm.
this coming, like it has to expand because you have teams, and I believe like it's just so many teams are moving conferences. Like Cincinnati's now in the Pac-12, I believe. So all
Really?
the yeah, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's the one that I heard that on Pac-12. I should have been more I guess in the loop with college football stuff. But I just I mean the biggest thing I feel like ZB, and you can like I'm curious to your thought. It's all about the money, man. It's all about the TV rights deals. It's all about like it's no longer they don't really care anymore about like old fashioned rivalries. They want to bring the best college football teams in and have them play each other because that's what's gonna get people to watch. I think, and I think that that's good in a sense, but I also worry like it is for the portion of the country or the world even that the teams people root for that aren't in those super conferences is viewership going to dwindle for teams that aren't that kind of get left behind in a sense. You know what I mean, GB?
Yeah, and we know about it, like Pitt, like Pitt. Let's see that I have added another question regarding the CFP for later in the show, and I apologize. I did drop out of the stream briefly for a moment there. Um, my browser seemed to have had a heart attack. But yeah, the current of college football. I mean, and we think it's going. Well, it is turning into a super conference, and there's a question later on as if it should, but it just the whole landscape of college football is changing because of what are you laughing at? Because of the NIL debate, and also speaking of this, also there's talk here locally of um, high school athletes in this state being allowed to profit off NIL, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it's turning. It's going to be interesting watching the next couple of years, see how the landscape of college football turns. Now that takes care of that question. Now then, my next question to you, Danny, is now on screen. Should college football become a super conference? Floor is yours.
I should have done more I should have been more prepared because this is a loaded question by our moderator here and Zach, who came up with the questions. I am just doing my best to provide not terrible answers here. No, but should college football become a super conference? I I don't necessarily love the way that it's heading. I really don't because I get that strength of schedule has been a very like polarizing issue when we look at should Cincinnati even at 13-0 should they be allowed I mean not should they be allowed should they make the college football playoff should UCF have made the college football playoff a couple years ago like strength of schedule is going to be one of the things that is kind of I guess it is going to create less controversy in the sense that most of the teams that are going to be in the conversation for the college football playoff have earned their way there. You know what I mean? They've played the best teams week in and week out. But also, you got to look at the teams that aren't in these quote unquote super conferences and what they might do. And we'll get into this later in the show, I'm sure, Zach. What they could end up doing is almost like make a whole, like not like I'm not sure how this would work, obviously, but like make like every at least mid-major school part of these conferences and kind of break them up into divisions. I could see them doing that, but as far as the strength of schedule that's going to make it more controversial, in my opinion, is what's going to happen to the let's say the 11-2 team, let's say that plays in the ACC, and if Clemson is in the Super Conference, like the ACC clearly isn't as good as it once was, but they still went 11-2. So I think that strength of schedule debate is going to be very interesting. Do you want to jump into LGB or should I? Oh, audio.
There we go. Thank you. Let me take my background off. So I really don't want to see like big school and big school go at it in like 2 40-team conferences every week. I don't want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we kind of see that every week here in the college football playoff here. So I really don't want to see I don't want to see 2 super teams going at it every single week.
I think that's what that that you bring up a good point there.
I also think that 40-team divisions is ridiculous.
Right.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point there, ZB. That I feel like what makes college football so great in some sense is we get Ohio State, Michigan once a year, and everybody is so excited for that. You know what I mean? We will almost kind of get less amped up for the big games because there's big games every week, which is great. But also the excitement doesn't build. You know what I mean? It's just kind of constant.
It would completely desensitize the community to the big college football community, especially in Michigan, all these big Big Ten schools, right? It would completely desensitize everybody that watches college football, including myself, because 40-team divisions. I'm sorry, but I'd love to see the playoff picture. Mm-hmm. How many teams? Well, that'd be interesting. I would think if you want to do 80 teams in a super conference, you'd almost have to restructure your entire season.
You would, I feel
because I don't think you're taking the top 4 out of an 80 team conference.
You can't do. I would, and I don't know how they would orchestrate this, but I would assume that
they'd find a way.
They would find a way. That's for sure, Zach. I would assume, and I obviously I'm not in the board room right now, so I don't know what they're cooking up there. But I would assume that they would
could be anything.
Yeah, could really. I would assume they would kind of try to do something, almost like mini conferences within the super conference, like mini divisions, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's.
But then that doesn't make sense though, because that's where we're at. You know what I mean?
Right. That's where we're at already. As I bring the question back up on the screen here. It's just like I think if this does happen, it'll take years of going back to scripting an idea to going to the drawing board, and it just I don't like where this is headed.
And I feel like, and I maybe this is a dumb point to bring up. But I feel like the NFL draft will not be the same if super conferences become. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, because you're not getting because you're if let's just say for argument's sake that it goes to an 80-team super conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're only there's only 32 NFL teams, and where do you think all of these 32 folks are going to go? There's your problem. Anyone you're not going to get a Desmond Ritter. I forget who he went to this year.
Yeah.
But they will be on super conference. Like Pitt. Let's take Pitt. Pitt's not going to be in a super conference, right? But you're not going to Pickett won't get drafted because scouts don't go to the small town schools.
Exactly.
They go to the super conference schools.
And that's gonna if some teams kind of get left behind, what does that do to the recruiting of some of these schools? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What's so cool in is in the ACC, let's say Pitt's their main I guess draw for recruits has been, look, we are going to try and do our best in the ACC and win an ACC championship. And hopefully that can put us in a good bowl game where you can showcase your talent against another really good team that we've worked hard to get the privilege to play. That having a super conference, it takes the privilege of what you worked for out of it. It's basically just handed to you because your schools have so much money that they're able to fund. You know what I mean, Jack?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like I know somebody, and I'm not going to identify them that went to the high school that I currently go to, and he is now at Pitt. And I don't know if he would have been drafted if this would have been, super conference because and Pennsylvania is a very big town for a state rather for high school football. Um, it's always the big deal around the state. So it's always raucous crowds on Friday nights. But yeah, it's just interesting to see just how like the recruiting landscape and college football as we know it in a couple years I think um, will be vastly different. I don't think it'll be the same from as we know it today.
Another thing too to keep in mind here is with I guess with like just I feel like if it comes to a surface and I started something but I was gonna bring up the NIL, but I kind of realized we already but like the NIL like that is going to have an effect on it too because you look at the players that are in the super conference are going to have opportunities to do more obviously than players that aren't in super conference. And I mean, I guess that the argument's sake would be that the talent goes to the super conference, which is kind of true. I mean, you look at like we're kind of seeing the effects of that with Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC and USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. Like talent is obviously going to play talent, but then what happens to the guys that are kind of loyal to their school and they don't get the same opportunities? And that I think that comes back to a bigger debate or a broader debate that NIL should be more uniform. You know what I mean, Jack?
Right.
I feel like. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I just feel like NIL right now, and I get that we're kind of in the early stages of it here. I mean, it was a big landmark decision here in the past couple of years here, or past year maybe.
Last year, yeah, I'd say.
Yeah. But I mean, like I saw a stat that and this is my mind because they both played for the University of Pittsburgh last season. But Jordan Addison, who's now transferred, I believe it was USC.
USC, yeah.
USC. He's going to make
what's he making? $8 million, $6 million?
He's going to make more than Kenny Pickett on his rookie contract.
Which, yeah, there needs to be if they want this to work. The NCAA has, I'm sure they're doing this already, but maybe they aren't. Needs to like how there's like the rookie or is there a rookie maximum? I don't know, but there needs to be there needs to be caps on this. I think. And go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
Last point.
Me?
No. Yes.
No, I was just saying, like, it shouldn't be that, you got some guys that are making more than NFL players and some guys that, like, are just, there shouldn't be such a wide gap, like you were saying, Jack. You know what I mean? There needs to be kind of caps, I feel like.
Yes.
And not that, like, I think it's great that college athletes are able to put their name on stuff and make money based on sponsorships and stuff. Because you look at college coaches, I mean, they're making bank. So I think it's good for college or college sports as a whole. But I think there needs to be some uniformity, like I was saying.
All right. So I know that was a lot of information to decipher there. So we are going to take a break for a couple of minutes, and we will be back right here on the. Hang on, I'm fixing something here. Fix that. Hang on. Get that out of there. And let me resize it. And we will get a break, and we'll be right back right here on the All Things Sports Podcast.
audio.
There we go. We are back, and here we go. I keep forgetting. I have this little switch on my microphone. Anyway, we are. Thank you for being my watchdog there, Daniel. Okay, here now we have two more questions here. Now we kind of covered these, but so what? Our third question for today's live is: what are the pros and cons of a super conference? Now, I get that we've covered these already, but these questions were already thought of prior to the show.
Mm-hmm.
So the floor is yours.
Yeah, no, I mean, I at least for me, I really touched on the cons of the super conference a lot more than the pros.
Pros, yes. Pros.
So I mean, look, I mean, to look at the pros here, I mean, you always got to look at the positive in every situation, right? So anyway, I mean, I think that you know one of a positive thing that could come from this is athletes are would be kind of getting more exposure. You know, if you're at least if you're in the super conference, you know what I mean? Because you got TV rights. I mean, the TV the TV rights that are going on right now. I mean, I'm obviously not in the middle of those negotiations, but everybody wants to showcase the top talent, you know, and that's great for the top talent, you know. So I think that's a pro of the super conference is that you kind of get more exposure. You kind of the schools especially. I mean, they're going to get more if they're on TV more. They're going to get more applicants, so that's good for the school, right? And I guess another thing too is that it's good. It's good in terms of I started a sentence and I didn't really know where it was going, but I guess it's kind of good in terms of like not like all teams are kind of moving to the same conference. So I think it'll be good that I'm trying to think uh, USC and UCLA moving to the Big Ten for basketball. And that's going to be different, you know. And I think that'll be a pro in a sense because you know the landscape has kind of been we said the landscape has been kind of is going to change and will change. But I mean that like it'll be cool to see different things. You know what I mean, Jeff?
Yeah, it's now interesting talking about TV rights deals. I think that if this super conference comes to fruition,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like super conference would sign one TV deal with the ESPN or a Fox and somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody else separate deal. Your thoughts?
Do you think? Go ahead.
Your thoughts?
I mean, I think
there could be two TV deals out of this.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm curious to hear, and I hope this is not the case because I don't want to have to. I don't want more streaming services because that we just. Talking about. There's always something that is always exclusively on one streaming service, not on the other. I think that's a. Go ahead.
I think that personally, that the Super Conference, well, I'll reserve my thoughts on that for. I gotta think about that guy.
No, I was just saying, like, there's always for streaming, like, my point basically, and I've been kind of dodging my own point, which is probably not a great thing to do when you're trying to make a point. But yeah, that's kind of counterintuitive. But I think like what might end up happening is that the lesser, like the teams that kind of get left behind out of the so-called Super Conference, for at least for now, before
we'll see a lot of things.
How it kind of shakes out here. But I think in terms of, I think basically the teams that are not in the Super Conferences will go to streaming services. I feel like because I don't know if you saw, but Amazon now has the rights for Thursday Night Football. So it's becoming more of a stream service dominant type of TV atmosphere, so to speak.
So yes, the NFL did, or Thursday Night Football, I'm sorry, did go to Amazon Prime Video. Now the DirecTV, off topic, is supposed to, I believe, be picked up by Apple. Let me confirm that. I believe it was Apple TV Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check this. Uh, yeah, so to let's see. Look at this article. Yes, Apple TV Plus will likely be the um, exclusive for out of market NFL content. I believe. I see. I don't. We don't have. I don't have DirecTV, so I don't really know much about Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I do have Apple TV Plus. But I think that either A, you have the super conferences go to a service like ESPN Plus, which I think is more likely, or you get that, and I think you get all of like the smaller schools on like the like ESPN2, ESPN3, which I believe is on ESPN Plus too. But I think there will be two TV deals if this comes to fruition. It would surprise me if not.
Yeah, and I think, and I don't know how, but I think that every conference right now has their own separate TV deal. You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah,
that
like let me look. I don't have my remote on me, but we have the Big Ten network, we have the ACC
right,
network,
right. So I think,
but I
it'll be
think
interesting to see. Go ahead.
but here's the thing: the ACC network is under ESPN.
Right. It'll be interesting to see kind of where those independent conferences go, so to speak, because of just the kind of realignment and everything.
Right.
So yeah, it'll be. I think the world is turning more digital and screen based. So
It is. It has been.
right. So I think it'll be very it'll be interesting to see kind of where every level of college football, because and at least I hope even the smaller schools will still have some sort of TV deal, but
Yeah,
because
I think
but
they will, but it's not going to be on a big network.
right, and yeah, so that'll be very interesting to follow. Just kind of how at least the TV deals will be interesting to follow as they arise here, huh?
All right, and this is our final question, and we realize we have been streaming for a long time now. This is one of our longer shows, um, and I think this is well, yeah, we'll toot our own. Why not? I think that last segment was one of our best that we've done in the history of this podcast here. So anyway, enough gloating. And our final question of today is: what changes, if any, do you think need to be made to the CFP?
Um, one word, Zach. One word. EXPAND. 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 Expand.
Expand.
You know what I'm saying? Because we had this debate every year.
Yep.
Where it's like the strength of schedule of the Alabama Crimson Tide, who went 11-1, is better than the team that went 12-0. So you give it to Alabama. There needs
Correct.
to be an
Hey,
option.
hey, I think if Alabama went 0-12, they'd still get in.
they'd find a way for sure. No, but like I think you need to expand.
That's what I think of the CFP committee.
Yeah, I think you need to expand. I think at least to 8 teams. At least to 8 teams. But I lean more towards the 16 team range because I just think that would kind of really get engagement going. I think that would motivate players to kind of you always have a shot. You know what I mean? If you lose two, it's not over. I think
Right.
I think you need to expand for sure. I think also as it on the expand issue, I think like you gotta be more clear with like not that you should like obviously tell schools like, but you need to be more clear with like scheduling non-conference games. Like how's like you know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
feel like you play within your conference, but you also got a few non-conference games. I think you need to be like the CFP kind of needs to be in collaboration with um all the colleges here to try and set up good non-conference games because like you said, if you're not like you said like nobody knows who to play when they're going through their non-conference schedule because how many times have you seen Alabama play the Citadel, Zach? Like
Yeah.
nobody wants to play Alabama because there's if you lose like that if you're Ohio State and you want to play Alabama and I know like but like if you don't want to schedule that because whoever loses is already a disadvantage and that's already a big fat L that's looking at you before you start your gauntlet of a conference season. So that kind of I feel like that kind of is self-explanatory as to why you got to expand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. I say ditto to Danny's thoughts there. I have no additional thoughts there. So that will do it for today's episode of the All Things Sports Podcast. We thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time. I am away this weekend, so we will. That shouldn't affect the show, the show schedule, but that does affect my YouTube channel, which is Gaming Central. You should subscribe. Oh wait, there's no cards on here. Well, I'll put it in a card up there. There, you know. Hang on. Let me take my background off. Then I can do it easier for you. There we go. Up there. No. There. Up there. Wherever the cards are. If I can put a card in, I will, but I'll put a link in the YouTube description for you to subscribe there as I put my background back on. Need to get Danny an All Things Sports background, but I tried that and it's not working properly. Because he has a potato of a computer. Anyway, enough blasting Danny. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thank you to our one Twitch viewer for sticking with us. And we will see any final words from people, Daniel.
No, good stuff as always, Zach. Appreciate everybody listening, or I guess watching, not
Listening
listening,
and
but
watching.
listening, doing both. But yeah, obviously love doing it and excited for future endeavors.
Yes. I also have to apologize to the listeners of our audio. I have not been cutting out the first 5 minutes of the countdown because I didn't think of that, and I will do that. I will start cutting out the first 5 minutes. I don't think I'll be able to cut out any breaks, but that didn't last too long today, so I apologize to our audio listeners for enduring 5 minutes of just music. I mean, it's good music if you want to listen to it, but I'm not going to force you. I think I'll start cutting it out. I apologize to all of our audio listeners. Let's take a look at the updated podcast analytics here. So as I open my hosting software here, 148 downloads. Let's see, where are we listening from? Still the same. We have 31 United States, 17 Norway, 1 Canada, and 1 in Mother Russia. So we'd like to thank all of our listeners in those various locations. And we will see you next time right here on the All Things Sports Podcast.